Now, that's another thing. Let me tell you this. It may surprise some of you. You know, everybody doesn't relate to the same God. Do you know what people really relate to? People relate to their concept of God. And you got to be careful about, you got to be diligent about that. That you are not relating to or serving somebody else's negative concept of God. Go ahead and clap. You want to clap. Write this question down. Whose concept of God am I relating to? Let's hear it. Whose concept of God am I relating to? You see, some people relate to that concept of a stingy God. I shucked him. Come on, say that. Come on, shuck him with your hands. Says, I shucked him. Some people have such a stingy concept of God that they even pray stingy prayers. Now, Lord, give me this and I won't ask for that. You're laughing because some of you sinners have done it. That's right, we were going to have confession. How many of you ever made a stingy deal with God? See that? You don't have to do that as if it's going to hurt God. Shuck that one. You see, there needs to be a whole lot of God shucking. This is why in the Old Testament the prophets were continually telling the children of Israel, or those who know the law of the Lord, to stop worshiping false gods. A stingy God is a false God. Let's hear it. A stingy God is a false God. And then there's the God of the Reverend Jonathan Edwards, an early preacher during the colonial days that was famous, among other things, for preaching that sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And he could preach hellfire so hot that people in the congregation would feel the fires of hell burning them and would run screaming to the altar to be saved. But of course, as soon as the hellfires cooled off, they backslid again. So what are we really dealing with here? Different people's concepts of God. Now, you'd better examine your concept of God. Put down on your paper somewhere, what is my concept of God? Is it a stingy God? Is it an angry God? Is it an ornery God? Is it a God that doesn't want me to have anything nice? Shuck all those gods. The Christians have some nice concepts of God, but you got to be choosy. I like that concept of God bespoken in that beautiful hymn. I think it's by Fanny Crosby. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me that I am his own. I like that fella. Let me hear you say that. I like that fella. The Lord who is my shepherd and provides all of my needs so that I shall not want. I can relate to him or her or it to cover all you people in the God supermarket. And one reason I like this teaching is because, very frankly, to tell you the truth, people who come to teaching such as this, you really discover that, well, you know, all this stuff I heard about God all the time, as the old song says, tain't necessarily so. Tain't so that God wants me to be poor. Let me hear you say that. Tain't so that God wants me to be poor. And you know who that angry God is? It's a man's or a mind's own anger at himself. You see, so, God is really not what the general populace thinks. And I'll tell you this, God is definitely not what the theologians think. She was expecting lightning to strike me and wondered why it didn't. So you see, that's one of the things you learn here. You learn to think for yourself.